Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I'm here tonight by myself. Kurt Levins watches game on Rogers Sportsnet. It looks like the World Series game crashed the feed. He's somewhere mired in the second period right now, so we both decided I should just charge ahead with this and proceed. So, a big win for the Edmonton Oilers, 3-2 overtime victory over the Chicago Blackhawks. Edmonton, by the grade A shots, this wasn't close. Edmonton had 18, the Hawks had 11, 5 alarm shots, 7-5 for the Edmonton Oilers. So I'm just going to try to get through this. Might be a little disjointed because I don't have any breaks to get my thoughts together as I go through the 2 good things, 2 bad things, and 2 numbers. But we'll give it a go. The first good thing is the overtime goal. First good thing about that overtime goal was the Oilers had a bunch of fresh players on the ice. And the reason that happened was a great play by Vasily Podkolzin. So I had criticized Podkolzin a few games ago for they'd been out for like a minute and a half in their own zone, trapped in their own zone, and they had not been able to get it out. And finally they do. He gets to center ice and he tries a pass across and it gets picked off and it's back in their zone and the defenseman can't get off the ice. That was a bad play. This time it was the opposite. He made a great tactical play. He, again, the Chicago players were very tired and he quite wisely took the puck into the Chicago end and then circled back to center ice and got off the ice. And out come McDavid, Draisaitl, and Evan Bouchard against 3 very tired Chicago Blackhawk defenders. And McDavid charges in. He gets the puck to Draisaitl, who bowls his way across the ice in Draisaitlian fashion on the backhand, puts the puck over to Evan Bouchard. And Bouchard, up until that moment, it struck me that he had the yips in this game. And, there's been a big debate about what's going on with him, why he's playing so poorly. And there's some people think, well, he's too casual. He's lazy. He's not working hard enough. I'm wondering if it's more of a confidence issue at this point, because he sure looked like he had one tonight. There was one play in the third period on the power play where the puck's passed over to him and he's really tentative about shooting. He loses the puck. There's a breakaway. He's down on the half wall, but no one's moved to the top to cover for him because, Oilers power play. They're all got their eyes on the prize. So there's a breakaway. And this time, Stuart Skinner makes a huge play to save both Bouchard and Skinner himself. They've both been getting ripped as usual, as always. Great save by Skinner, save of the game, and saves Bouchard. But Bouchard made a couple more tough plays, and I do think he's got the yips. There's a bit of a confidence issue. And I do admire the way that Coach Chris Knobloch is handling Bouchard. I know there's been some discussion about people want him benched. They think that's the right thing to do with him. I just think every player is different, and the coach would know his players better than you or I would. So we shouldn't assume that every player should be benched for the same thing or promoted for the same things. Every player needs to be handled slightly differently. Now, you do have to take action sooner or later in a kind of consistent fashion, but you also have to be careful. And I think he's getting it right with Bouchard, and it paid off, perhaps. Bouchard finally got the great play that he needed, and he finally got the bounce that he needed. He takes the pass from Draisaitl. First one, bangs it on net. The goalie makes a save. Second one, he gets the rebound. It bounces right to him. That's the bounce he needed, and he puts it right in the net. That's the skill play that he needed. Bouchard looked awfully relieved after the game, especially compared to the morose and beaten down young man that we saw after the other game. I understand he's been making a ton of mistakes. He really has. This is the worst stretch of his career. But again, I do think Knobloch is getting it right. And I hope this is a significant moment for Bouchard just in getting it going, because he is such a fantastic hockey player. as he demonstrated in the playoffs against Los Angeles when he was one of the key players in Edmonton's comeback in that series, and making so many great plays under pressure. He's facing a different kind of pressure right now. I think one of his own confidence, and hopefully, and I expect him to get on the right side of that. The second good thing tonight, Jack Roslovic. Forever, it seems, the Oilers have been searching for a winger to play with Leon Draisaitl. And the last time Draisaitl was on a truly functional line trio was 2019-20, the year he won the MVP, when he was with Yamamoto and Nugent Hopkins on the dynamite line. They were just fantastic moving the puck. Yamamoto was his best before he ever got banged up and injured. He was flying out there, Nuge was flying. They had great chemistry. And then they got broken up for the playoffs for some reason. Still don't know why Dave Tippett did that. Anyway, they've been searching for wingers. They've been bringing, like Dominic Cahoon came in, and other players have come in that they've tried out with Draisaitl. And they've never, and then they brought in Victor Arvidsson and Jeff Skinner last summer, spending all their money, and eventually it ends up with them losing Dylan Holloway because of it. When they lost Holloway, they brought in Vasily Podkolzin, who has worked out well with Draisaitl consistently. And Arvidsson did well for a time, but he could not find the twine. He could never get going as a scorer. And I think both Arvidsson and Skinner in their early 30s were a bit past their prime when they got here. Whereas Skinner's in his Roslovic's in his late 20s, I should say. And man, he's flying out there. He can really move. He really reads the play well. He's an outstanding offensive player. I mean, I think he was like 65th last year in even strength scoring in the NHL. He can really, really make offensive plays. He can really combine well with other players. And he might be, again, that player that is the perfect fit. Podkolzin, the up and down, hardworking winger. Draisaitl is Draisaitl. And now Roslovic, a guy who can work with Draisaitl, make passes, take shots, with some really strong offensive skill. And tonight he set up Podkolzin for a one-timer. He was making all kinds of nice passes to set up grade A shots. He broke in and got a really great shot of his own. And he scored a goal in the power play. Went to the net. David Tomasik was taken out of this game on the power play because they wanted to put in Noah Philp. And I think it's the right move because Philp's a better center than Tomasik. But Roslovic came in there. Tomasik, he has done well on the power play. He's got 6 grade A shots on the power play so far this year, but he's yet to score. Roslovic scored. It makes a big difference. And I wonder when Tomasik will get in another game. I think we're going to see Roslovic on the power play again. He moves around. He's fast. He's aggressive. He's smart. He's a good hockey player. And he's looking like he really fit in with the Oilers. He wanted to sign with the Oilers, as we all know, earlier this summer. Or they didn't want to sign, but the Oilers wanted to sign him, I should say. They offered him a 3-year deal. He turned it down. Wasn't enough money at the time. But when he couldn't get a contract, he signed here 1 year at $1.5 million. It's a great deal for the Oilers, and it speaks to how much players want to come here. And finally, like fingers crossed, this is the first Oilers line that's working this year. Roslovic, Draisaitl, Podkolzin. Huge for the team, huge for the coach to have figured that out. And if they can keep it going, they just got to find and get another line going, figure it out with another line, then another line until they got all 4 working, hopefully by the playoffs, eh? So Roslovic is my second good thing. He had a great game. Bad things. I think that the power play goal by Connor Bedard setting up Tyler Bertuzzi, it was the 1-1 goal where Chicago tied it up. Not the best moment for the 2 veteran defensemen out there, Darnell Nurse and Jake Wallman. It's tough to rate players on their PK work. You kind of have to guess to some extent on how aggressive should they be. Should they be backing off? Should they be attacking? It's a lot about feel on the PK and the players out there trying to sort their way through it, what the best move is. And Nurse, it just struck me that both Nurse and Wallman got on the wrong side of things. Nurse got a little too high in the defensive zone. Connor Bedard's in the corner. He's the most dangerous player on the ice. And I think Nurse gave him a bit too much time and space, backed away. He was backing away high to take away the high shot from the slot, which is a really dangerous. Bedard's not likely to score from where he was. That is the danger man, except for the other guy down by the net, Bertuzzi. And Bertuzzi pulled the old Zach Hyman. He got right on the post with his stick on the ice. And Wallman got on the wrong side of him. The puck is put across the crease, so Skinner can't get it. Bertuzzi gets it on his body, I think on his skate, and puts it to his stick and puts it in. Through Wallman, Nurse's stick isn't in the way. And it would have been nice if Nurse's stick was in the way, or if Wallman was able to either tie up Bertuzzi or get in the way himself. Neither thing happened, and there's a goal against on the PK. It is a tough play for those two players, but they're capable of making it, and I don't think I didn't love the execution on that play. The next thing wrong, the next bad thing will be the Sportsnet feed tonight, which is why Kurt's not here. He's again watching the second period or somewhere in there now. It was all gobbled up. I guess the system just got overloaded by so many people watching the Blue Jays game. My second bad thing is because so many people were watching both games, they're kind of interrelated, and the Oilers game was kind of an anticlimax. So my bad thing is the Jays losing. I'm the last person on the Jays bandwagon. I haven't watched a full ball game since the early 90s. And since the Expos left Montreal, I was a huge Expos fan. And I remained a baseball fan somewhat after that, but the steroids scandal with Barry Bonds and Mark McGuire turned me off, as well as the pace of the game, the slow pace of the game. So it was a real surprise when I turned it on, getting on the bandwagon. And to see the game had speeded up a lot. It was a much more enjoyable product. And the Jays were a great team to watch, as everyone knows in Canada by now. Great fielding team, great hitting team, pitching team. They had kind of all aspects they were good at least. And they came within just one call at home plate of beating the ballyhooed LA Dodgers, who are a fantastic team. Won the World Series twice in a row. That call was so close at the plate where the catcher lifted his foot and apparently got it down in time again. I'm not going to comment on it because I can't say I didn't see a clear enough replay to know. I'm assuming they got it right. But a tough way to lose. And I want to say I really feel for Toronto fans and baseball fans across Canada. That people who are following it closely and have been for years, especially the hardcore. And as we know with the Oilers, it is great. It's a great ride when your team gets to the Stanley Cup final, game 7 or 6, and takes it deep and almost wins. But man, it hurts too. It really does hurt. And there's a lot of hurting going on in Toronto. So, and across Canada with Blue Jays fans, my heart goes out to you. I don't feel that because I'm the last one on the bandwagon, first one off. I wasn't watching it in that way. I was just enjoying it. So, but from my vantage point, from the distance that I had from the team and just coming in late, what a great team. What a great story. There is nothing to be, I will say, nothing to be sad about. That's luck, that call at the plate. That's what happens in sports. It's that close and it's that painful. But it was a glorious year for the Toronto Blue Jays. Congratulations to that team, to their players, to their management, and to their fans. What a great season. My numbers. Let's see if NHL.com has finally updated their scoring, because they take forever to update the individual stats after a game, and they still have not. But my first number is Connor McDavid now has 17 points in 13 games. This is after his kind of tepid start. He had 3 assists tonight. He assisted on the Roslovic goal on the power play, whipping it over to him. He assisted on Draisaitl's goal, charging into the offensive zone, and a Blackhawks player tried to hit McDavid, and he took the guy out. McDavid did, opening up a passing lane for Nuge to thread it over to Draisaitl for his executioner's shot, his trademark shot, beautiful one-timer, harpoon in the back of the net. That was the first goal game. And then on the overtime winner, he took the puck in, it went from Podkolzin to McDavid to Draisaitl to Bouchard. So 3 assists tonight. He's now in a massive logjam, tied for 8th in NHL scoring. Also tied for 8th are David Pastrnak, Nick Schmaltz, Kyle Connor, Dylan Larkin, and Martin Necas. But they're all just 3 points behind Mark Scheifele, who's got 20 points in 20 games. So McDavid's coming on, and I know he doesn't necessarily care about winning the scoring championship, but I do. I love to see him succeed, to win championships, to win Hart trophies. I really want for him to see him win the Stanley Cup. As a fan now of the team, I don't see it as about me or for me in any way. I see it as for these players on this team, on the Oilers team, who've been at it so long and are just going. And I want to see on their behalf them win. And McDavid's cranking it up again. The world is as it should be. The world is right. Next up, next number, 15. The Oilers have 15 points. Do you know who else has 15 points? First place in the Pacific Division, Vegas has 15 points. So on one level, the Oilers are tied for first, but the Oilers have played 13 and Vegas has played 11. So it's on points percentage, Vegas is ahead. On points percentage, the Kraken are also ahead of the Oilers. The Kraken have 14 points in 11 games, but the Oilers have 15 points now in 13 games after a very mediocre October. That's not bad. 15 points, 13 games, 6 wins, 4 losses, 3 overtime losses. So that's how you get to the 15. Way to go, Oilers. You've found a way not to dig too deep a hole. You're not in a hole at all. You're right in the thick of things as the season progresses. So there's not this grinding pressure. It's really good for the rookies, isn't it? Like for Howard and Matt Savoy and Tomasik and Philp, who was responsible for the third goal against his man, beat him in the slot. One of the players responsible for the third goal, Kulak, lost a battle behind the net, and Podkolzin didn't stop the initial point shot. But these rookies will get more, with Hyman out, they've already gotten a good shot. We've got a good look at them. And it's interesting. Each of them have their pluses and their minuses, and it's hard to say which of them is ahead right now in terms of making this team and making an impact on this team. I like the way Savoy dug in tonight. Howard's finding a way to get off grade A shots every game in limited ice time. Noah Philp, I think, is a solid two-way player who is at least a fourth-line center in the NHL. And Tomasek is good on the power play and has some skill. Kurt Levins is often pointed out, he's a bit slow in his skating, and I do wonder about that the more I watch things, but you just never know. He's been a little bit snake bitten. He deserves to have a few more goals than he's gotten. So it's been a real good look at these 4 rookie forwards, and they're all battling away here. And because, again, the Oilers are in the thick of it, they're not like desperate to win. It was desperate to win, I think, one year they kept, let's say, Philip Broberg out of the lineup. And it was a big impact on the future of the team, getting off to such a crappy start, because then they didn't think they could go with Broberg. They had to call up a veteran defenseman because they didn't trust the rookie. Although they brought in another rookie, Desharnais. Anyway, I'm getting off track. Great win for the Oilers. Too bad Kurt's not here to enjoy it with me. I know that he was watching the Blue Jays game off and on too. I think he covered the team. I think he was saying last week in Toronto, so he was quite interested in it. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. So I want to thank everyone for listening tonight. And in the meantime, and in between time, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.